Hello, and welcome to all of the people watching this videos. Thank you for tuning in and taking a moment out of your time to get a different perspective. Now, the reason I'm making this video is kind of in response to a lot of liberal views out there. And it's for everybody. If you're a pro-gun person, I want you to watch this video. If you're an anti-gun person, I also would love for you to watch this video. I kind of want to review some of the ideas out there and give a different point of view on some of them. A lot of what I've been hearing lately is gun people are crazy. Why do they have guns? They must be nuts. They want to kill people. It's violent, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of want to start by reviewing what our forefathers meant for guns to be in America. I want to start by reading the declaration or excerpt from the Declaration of Independence, and I know it sounds like some kind of old English stuff that not a lot of people can understand, but we'll get the gist of it. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. And another piece of legislation rolls around called the Second Amendment, and that's thrown around a lot in the media and in these conversations about gun legislation, and I think it's important that we all read it, and understand the context of it. The Second Amendment states, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." And to set a backdrop for the Declaration of Independence, and I think there's a lot of quotes of Thomas Jefferson saying things about tyranny in government and how people should take initiative and overthrow those things. And that's basically what the Declaration of Independence is talking about. It says, it is their right, it is their sworn duty to throw off such governments and provide new guards for their future security. So basically what these two documents are talking about is, remember where America got its roots. Where did we come from? We were British people, basically, who said enough is enough. We don't like the way Britain's running things. We're going to leave peacefully, not so peacefully, and if we're confronted, if Britain comes over here, we're going to war. Keep that in mind as we go along our discussion. The first point that I hear a lot of people saying or inferring is guns caused Sandy Hook and other mass shootings, right? I would bring up the point that's wrong. I think crazy people caused Sandy Hook and other shootings and mass killings. If we look at 9/11, I know you're thinking, oh, that's a terrorist thing, that's non-domestic, blah, 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 but the point, just strip all that away, and the point is, someone who wanted to murder someone succeeded. And they didn't use guns, they used a plane, and they killed almost 3,000 people. In Oklahoma City, Timothy McVeigh used a fertilizer bomb to kill 168 people and 19 children. So I just want you to think for a second, forget about guns at all. People can do some terrible things if they want to, and they don't need a gun to do it. So to say that kids aren't going to die in mass killings again or something like that isn't going to happen again because we ban guns is just naive. It happens all the time, and honestly in greater numbers when people use other means. I mean, imagine if someone were to take a semi-truck and just plow into a fair or a parade or any outdoor event. People who want to do evil will do evil. Guns aren't going to stop that. The problem is the people, not the guns. The second point I've heard a lot of is banning guns stops mass killing. So if we were to just ban guns, that would just stop mass killing, which is kind of another offshoot of what we just talked about. I want to bring up, and this is from a point that was brought up by Nut and Fancy. Pro-gun people are probably familiar with him, anti-gun people probably not. He brought up the fact that a prison is probably the most controlled environment you could have for guns, right? These people are locked up 24/7, security checks in and out, absolutely every possible security measure is taken with these people. And are there weapons in prison? Absolutely. Are there drugs in prison? Absolutely. Are people being murdered in prison? Absolutely. The thing is, you cannot make laws. Laws don't prevent criminals from doing crimes. That's what it all comes down to. For an example, in Europe, guns are banned in a lot of places. In 2010, a man named Derek Bird, don't know how he got a gun, since guns are illegal there, did a mass shooting. He murdered 12 people and injured 11. In 2002 in France, which is also guns are illegal there, Richard Dern shot and killed 8 people and injured 19. Now Belgium, I'm not sure on their gun control, but I'm sure they have more than just free and open gun shops everywhere. In 2011, Nordine Amrani, and if guns aren't illegal, I assure you grenades are in Belgium, set off grenades and used, I think they said in the news report, automatic fire, but that, who knows. So he was shooting, throwing grenades. He killed 6 children and injured 123 people. And the point that I'm trying to get across here is you can ban guns all you want, but what happens when you ban guns? If you put a law out, laws are only followed by people who care to follow laws. So myself, a law-abiding citizen, if a law came out, I would fight it as much as I could, but in the end, law-abiding citizens follow laws. I'm at no risk. I'm not going to harm anybody. The worst I could do is save someone if they were going to be harmed by someone. But I would never harm anyone with a gun. But my guns would be taken away. Now, the guy who's planning to do a school shooting, to planning to do a mass shooting, whatever is man at the world, terrorist, whatever, is he going to say, oh man, it's illegal to have guns now, I better go turn mine in? No. No. If that were the case, all we would have to do is not change any laws. We should just all put t-shirts on that say, murder is illegal, and just start an awareness campaign, and the more you know on NBC and all that, and murder is illegal and everything would be fine. But that's not the case, because laws don't stop criminals. Okay, third point, a lot of people say, but why does anyone need an AR-15 or a high-capacity magazine like this 60-round magazine for an AR? Why does anybody need that? And there's so many different points to that, it's ridiculous. But the first one I want you to do is, if you truly believe that, why does nobody needs that? I want you to go to YouTube, youtube.com, and put in the search part, protester shot. And just see the thousands of videos that will pop up from the Middle East of probably good, normal citizen people protesting the horribleness of their dictatorship governments or whatever is going on. And I know I'm making up a lot of words in here, just go with it. So they go and they peacefully protest, and you'll see people just chanting and they're clapping and stuff, and all of a sudden you hear bang, 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 and you just see blood everywhere, and people and women and children dead. And it's because these people went through this process we're going through, where their government said, guns are bad, we're banning guns. Maybe they didn't even get a voice in it or a discussion, but at some point their government said, guns are bad, you guys can't have guns. We can have guns, but you can't. Then all of a sudden, the president starts fixing elections. In Iran, that was a case where they were saying the elections were fixed and they were protesting. And he says, well, guns are banned and I have them and I just rigged the election, so let's kill those people. They're getting out of line. And that's what's happening over there. And that's exactly what our forefathers wrote about in the Declaration of Independence and the Second Amendment. They said, hey, when this stuff starts happening, you guys need to have a militia where it's the people armed and ready to say, this is enough, this isn't happening, you guys are getting out of control and we're not standing for it. And if we don't have the means to do that, imagine if they have automatic weapons and tanks and we have single-shot .22 hunting rifles or something like that, or like a bolt-action .308 or something like that. We would have absolutely no means of defending ourselves whatsoever. It's not for hunting, it's not for sport, it's not for fun. That is not what the Second Amendment has to do with at all. It's to protect each other from our own government in the potential situation of things getting out of control. And ask yourself right now, do you trust everything the government's doing? Would you give up your freedom and say, you know what, government knows best. They make a lot of great decisions. They do a lot of things right, and we are totally protected. I'll give everything up, and if I'm ever mugged, I will call the police, and they'll surely get here before anyone is hurt. If you feel that's the case, then maybe you should give your guns up. I also want to bring up that America is a young country. A lot of countries in history, back thousands of years, have had reigning moments of power where they're just the world superpower, big as can be, and then all of a sudden they fall and stuff happens. And I think the direction America's heading right now with legislation is leading us towards that fall, and this is going to be one of the pivotal steps in that. Are we going to give up everything? Are we going to give up our freedom, let the government take us down whatever road they want to, and end up left in the dust? So I'm asking you to use your brain, use your intuitiveness, and make the decisions that you think are going to save your country. Don't give up your freedom and trust the government to do the right thing on the honor system. Another point I heard was that civilians don't know how to use guns. If they were ever in a situation where there's a mass shooting and they pulled out a gun, that thing, it'd be like one of those, you ever see the Ninja blender commercial? And they're showing the first guy with the normal, oh, this is your everyday household blender, and it's fumbling and falling on the floor. And they act like that's what a civilian carrying a gun would be like. They just drop it and it just go off, or whatever, where you drop a gun and it just goes full auto, or whatever movies those are in. That's not how guns work. That's not how people work. December 13th, 2012, there was very recently, there was a shooting in an Oregon mall. This man walked in, started opening fire, killed 3 people. His gun jammed. A civilian with a gun pulled out his firearm while the guy was trying to clear his jam. The murderer was trying to clear his jam. Murderer sees him. Guy's pointing his gun, decides not to take the shot because he was a responsible person and saw people running by. He didn't want to accidentally hurt somebody. He used his brain, saw the gun was jammed, erred on the side of caution. The guy ran away behind the corner, cleared his jam, killed himself. So that civilian stopped that mass attack. Who knows how that could have been 50, 60 people dead in that situation. But as soon as the shooter was met with some resistance, with some firing back at him, some crossfire, or at least the potential of it, the threat of it, he said, "I'm out of here." So all it took was showing the gun in that situation. Another instance, July 27, 2012, in Smith's Market, a man standing in the lobby. I guess this guy, I'm going to just talk to you about this one. This guy goes in the store, purchases a gun, purchases a knife, or just grabs a knife off the shelf, goes into the lobby where people are coming in and out of the supermarket, like the entryway, and just starts screaming nonsense about your people killed my people or something. I don't know if it's a religious thing or ethnic thing or whatever, but he starts just stabbing people. He stabbed one guy in the head, he stabbed another guy in the arm, stabbed a few people, and again, a civilian pulls out a gun, and a lot of people think, oh, he's going to pull out a gun and just start raining bullets. They're just waiting, trigger-happy people running around with guns. Not the case. This guy pulls a gun out, aims it at the guy, says, "Drop your weapon." Dude drops his weapon. Nobody got shot. Just, again, took the showing of potential force for this guy to drop his knife, and then all the people around who were just getting stabbed at or whatever tackle this guy, and they subdue him until the cops get there and he's arrested. That's just another instance of civilians standing up and doing the right thing. And there's plenty more of those out there. I didn't want to waste a bunch of time looking them up. You're welcome to. I believe I'm in Michigan, so there's an organization, the Michigan Gun Owners. I think it's just MichiganGunOwners.org, and they have different news articles of similar things like that all over there. I'm sure you can find some if you just use Google. I challenge anyone with a comment against that, saying that people are dangerous and they'll just open fire and start killing people. Show me one example of an active shooter situation where it's a mass shooting, where a civilian has pulled out a gun and just started opening fire and added to the deaths and killed multiple people or something like that. I don't think it's happened. I don't think it's happened. If it were to happen, let's give the example of the Batman movie theater shooting. So a guy comes in and starts blasting people away, and he shot all sorts of people. I don't have the count off the top of my head or on the paper. So let's assume I pull out a gun. It's dark. I take 3 shots, hit someone in the leg, but killed the guy, and maybe prevented 15 more deaths, 20 more deaths, countless more deaths. You don't know. Which one's more worth it? Just say no one should have guns because it's too dangerous, no one can control them, and just make sure the guy gets as many people as he wants, and then it'll be over when the cops get there. Or potentially have a chance of doing something. Point 5, which is what I'm going to close with, is that the government doesn't want to protect your kids when it comes down to it. If you think this gun legislation is going to protect a single other child, you're being naive. And I'm not saying that in a I'm right, you're wrong way. I just really want you to think about it. I'm going to explain why. I want you to think about what happens when you go into a courthouse. You go through a metal detector. You can't even bring your cell phone in there. They're going to wand you down. They're going to put you through a metal detector. They're going to put your bag through an x-ray. And then you're going to go see the judge because they don't want their judges getting hurt, right? That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? But why isn't that the case for our kids? If the government, being the big spending machine they are, really wanted to protect our kids, we'd get that security in our schools, wouldn't we? That's the truth. A better law, I think a much better law, rather than banning guns, would be to allow the staff to carry weapons. The teachers, some teachers don't want to carry guns, that's their own choice. But if the staff wants to carry guns, either allow it and allow the parents to carry guns, whatever they need to do, or say, hey, if this is a gun-free zone, you make sure it's a gun-free zone. And that can be out of the school's pocket. Each individual school has a choice. Either make it a gun-free zone, don't just put a sign outside that only the law-abiding people listen to. Have a gun check, just like a courthouse. All entrances closed. You have an x-ray, metal detector, just like a courthouse does, and a guy standing there with a gun. He's got a gun, you don't. Either enforce the no-gun thing, or allow people to carry there. That's a great law. And I think some states have actually adopted that or attempted to adopt that law. And I want to close again with saying, I understand that a lot of you are just angry about Sandy Hook and about other shootings, and I am too. A lot of people have died, and it sucks, and we want it to stop. Everybody wants it to stop. Gun people want it to stop just as much as you do. The difference is we're trying to look at realistic ways that we can stop this. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to help your children. Judge what content is okay for your children to watch. If you have a withdrawn child that you're worried about and is showing some troubling signs, maybe you should make sure what he's watching on TV is appropriate for him. Check on what he's looking up on the internet, stuff like that. Be responsible for your own children. For my family, I think it's important for us to get back to family values, spend time, make sure that me and my wife aren't fighting in front of my son, that we know, he's only 3, but, we watch what he watches, and we watch how he reacts to what he watches, and we're very mindful of that, and we're going to continue to be in the future. Know where your kids are, even when they're 19, 20 years old, know where your kids are, keep a good relationship with them, keep an eye on what they're doing, who they're hanging out with, how they're acting. I think that's going to be a lot more effective than banning guns. Now, if you're still thinking all these things I'm just full of lies and banning guns is the way it is and that's what has to happen, I'm urging you to please reconsider. It could save your country to make an informed decision on this legislation and inform your point of view, inform your representatives of your point of view, because it's very important. Keep America free and push for safer armed America. That's the only way we're gonna come out of this on top in the end. Thanks.